Right, I think we're live.
Excellent.
Excellent. What camera are you using today, Carlos?
I'm on my usual Logitech one now.
Oh, you're on your
The normal
Logitech
Logitech
one.
one.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, good.
It's the
It's
the
a
one that,
much...
which didn't have the jagged lines.
Yeah. It's a much prettier... It's a much prettier image.
We started watching Clarkson's Farm at the weekend.
Oh, it's amazing.
Brilliant.
So good.
Oh, it's so good.
good.
So good. Yeah.
We were only mortified
and
when we got so far and couldn't watch anymore.
I know, it's being released weekly on a Friday. I know, infuriating, isn't it? I bet you really enjoyed the temporary farmhand.
Oh, yes.
Yes, I bet you did. Yes.
I'm now following her on Insta.
Of course you are, absolutely. She's a nurse as well, believe it or
I
not.
know.
Nuts, isn't it? What an incredible human being she was. She
But
really was.
such a good series.
It is a brilliant series,
So
absolutely. And of course, with my background, of course, I'm following the pub saga with absolute fascination and love. Been there, done that. Do you know what? I'd give anything to have his resources.
140 million for the last 3 series of Clarkson's Farm.
What, per series or all 3 together?
No, for all 3, 140
Is that
million.
all? Oh,
Yeah.
poor man. He must be really struggling.
Yeah. So, yeah.
But it's been an absolutely worldwide, mind-blowing
So
success,
good.
hasn't it? Yeah, absolutely.
Even you enjoyed it, didn't you, Dave? Sitting there watching it on his little cushion. I love the track. The tractors bit was so good.
Yeah, wasn't it?
I can't believe he ended up buying the blinking Lamborghini.
I know, went back to...
one again.
spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen it.
Sorry.
God. I mean, I have seen it, but, you know, there might be people in the chat room who haven't seen it.
Oh, we did go and watch the last iteration of Mission Impossible at the cinema on
good.
Friday.
Enjoyed it? It's got great reviews.
It was very good. Dave, would you just sit comfortably? It was very good. It went on for quite a long while. Took a long while to get there, but the stunt scene was oh my good lord,
out of this world, I'm sure.
So good, so good. But we sampled the new Lux Suite pods at the Odeon, which are, oh, good lord. It's just like being in Emirates business class.
Oh, hello.
Oh, yeah. You even get the little reading light on the side here, like you do on a business class seat. Fully recline, footrests. So, yeah, it was very nice, very comfy. And you can order food to your seat, which is nice.
Nice. Like the sound of that.
But yeah, it's quite nice. It's quite a nice experience. And to be fair, for 30 quid for both of us, you know, it's night out, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're probably getting the rain that we had this morning, Alan. We had some pretty hefty downpours this afternoon.
Yeah, just as I went to go and get my coffee as well, I got absolutely drenched.
Yeah,
I came back looking like I'd entered a wet t-shirt competition. It was horrible.
A bit like our trip to Dublin that time.
Oh, that was award-winning. I still have a fabulous picture. I still have a fabulous picture of me, like this bit here. Oh, hang on, sorry, I've got the wrong camera on, haven't I? This bit here, I'm absolutely soaked from here down. It's just like.
But that was just so weird when we got up and it was like. There was just this immediate winter wonderland.
I know. Very bizarre,
outside.
Wasn't it? And yet, there were no signs of it. It wasn't even particularly cold when we got there. It was just like, you know. I mean, they do laugh and joke and say that Ireland quite often has 4 seasons in one day. I think we had about 6 seasons that day, didn't we?
It does. Yeah. Yes, Alan's right. Yes, it's coming west to east, unfortunately, the weather. But we desperately needed it for the garden, though. Gosh, thank goodness we've had some rain. It's been horrific.
Yeah, the garden's been dry.
Really, very crusty and nasty.
Quite awkward, Dave. I can't. Daddy moved my hand so I can get to the show notes. There we go. We should bring a cat bed in here, really, shouldn't we? Just literally laying on my lap, in my arms, on both arms. Nigel's buggered off somewhere. That boy.
Perhaps he's gone to listen to APG.
Yeah, he's listening to APG. That's what it is. He wants to hear it. He wants to hear all about the stories.
Yes. It's quite relaxed, actually. I think he likes being in here, doesn't he? Nigel had his first bird last weekend.
Oh, hello.
Yeah. Little bugger.
Are they dating long term, or was it just a one-off?
Well, not the mess he made of it, I don't think.
Oh, right. Oh, one of those. Lovely.
Well, he didn't destroy it. I sort of cuddled it up and put it in a box and took it down the field, and it kind of sort of trotted off. But he'd had a little bit of a chew on it. To be fair, it was a sort of relatively babyish blackbird.
Aww. Evil.
I know. Dave just can't be. He's got no interest.
He's very relaxed, which
can't be
lovely.
bothered.
You know one thing I haven't done that I've just realised?
VT clock?
And I've done that.
Media?
Yeah, not done any of that.
Ah.
There's me chatting along nonchalantly. Can't get the staff, Nev. It's awful. I'll get a few loaded up just so that I can do it as we go.
Yeah, Darren, that's correct. Yeah, beautiful there. 737-200 with those Pratt & Whitney JT8Ds, the little cigar engines on the wings. No, I didn't realise that until Darren just put it in the chat room. They're BA Birmingham on the.
Yes, they had some of those 737-200s based at Birmingham, and I think they had some which were labelled Manchester as well. I seem to recall, for the holiday bucket and spade trips.
Yeah.
But yes, I haven't been on a BA 737-200 for a very long time. Been on some 737-400s that they had, and lots of British Midland 737-300s, 400s, and 500s as well. Yes. That's a rare aircraft, isn't it? 737-500. Gosh,
it just looks really strange, doesn't it?
Yeah,
really strange.
A bit too short.
Yeah.
But I do miss British Midland though. That was a good airline, really well run, and because they were part of the Star Alliance, I get lots of points when I was flying with the SAS boys and girls quite a lot as well. So yeah, really liked Midland. Good, well run outfit.
You're spoiling us with two retro airline ads again.
Yeah, one of them's quite short one, so I bunged two in there this week.
Well, quite short. One's 32, one's 44. I wouldn't say they're that short.
Oh. 737-600 was even shorter. Many a trip on them SAS Scandinavian.
Yes, they had. They had. That's right. They had a few of the 600 series, didn't they? Not many, I don't think. But
because it was it's Southwest that ran the 700 series. Lots of the 700s, wasn't it? They had loads of them. Hi, Masha. Up against APG this evening, guys and girls.
Well, no, they're up against us.
Well, they're up against us, as I say, yeah.
You know.
Oh, look, here's something that never happens at APG.
Oh.
Oh, that means starting on time?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Never's a stickler for that, and will even give us grief when he's not here.
Well...
Oh, hello. 10, I'm only getting it out of 1 year.
8, that's what she said.
6, 5, 4, 3.
hello and welcome to episode 553 of the Plain Talking UK podcast. I'm Carlos, and in this week's show, is the pilot shortage really this bad? An A321XLR takes a Wizz, and passport damage. Have you checked yours lately? In the military, RAF Brize Norton's gate guard gets a refresh and looks stunning. Plus, it's drone killing time. So, joining me this week across the currently sunny village of Bungay here in Suffolk.
I know, it's the best part of the day, isn't it?
Matt Smith, I know. Hello.
Hello. How are you?
It's a lovely day today, but I'll tell you what, it's a complete contrast to this morning, Matt. I honestly thought that we were going to have to leave Dis in a canoe.
Absolutely, yes. I got me armbands on ready, my water wings, just in case. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's been a well. We mustn't grumble though, because we desperately need it for the garden. What's it been like down your way, Sir Nev, who is back with us? I'm pleased to say.
Yes, the sun is out at the moment, as you can probably see, but we've had a few days of rain as well. But sorry, I wasn't around last week. I was travelling around the Scottish region with Mrs. Nev, doing a bit of what turned out to be about a 1,100 mile drive.
Oh wow!
To various parts of Scotland. Went to the east coast to St Andrews, where the golf is, but a beautiful town as well, actually, in St Andrews, if you've not been before. And then generally driving around the Grampians and Aberdeenshire. Also we stayed at one of the Hiltons, which is next to the Aberdeen Conference Centre, which, if you look out your window, the aircraft are about 300 feet as they come into land, so that was rather handy for me to look out of the window. And then we came back on Friday of last week, but we had the weather could not have been better. It was 19 to 21 degrees the whole time and perfect sunshine. So yeah, couldn't be more nicer for the time of year, but it's sort of changed now. But then the gardens did need the water as well, so we're grateful for some of the rain, I think.
So how did the new vehicle perform, Nev? Obviously, it's the first sort of big outing. For the new
apart from the Ford rattles and squeaks that you seem to get with brand new Fords these days, which you never used to get, I have to say, it did very well, and 50 miles to the gallon most of the way, which for a 2.5 litre petrol engine with a bit of hybrid assistance isn't bad going, I didn't think. Very nice, very comfortable. Nice to have a slightly bigger car on a longer run as well, because you can just load up the car with as much gear as you need. But no, really, really good. Really enjoyed it, and it wasn't too. I mean, it's roughly 400 miles each way to Edinburgh, for example, from here. But it wasn't. It didn't feel like it. The traffic was okay, and it was quite a relaxing drive as well. So really enjoyed it. So sorry I was unable to join you last week there.
I do love Scotland.
I was going to say, on that note, Mr. Smith, Darren Smith says tea cakes and Tunnocks bars.
Ooh, I'm not familiar with a Tunnocks bar. What's a Tunnocks bar?
Really?
My word.
No.
Oh my word.
No.
It's an internet question. If you haven't already had one.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll investigate. I shall Google it now. I've got nothing else to do.
Actually, I'm quite partial to the Scottish tablet, Nev. I don't know whether you saw that when you're up.
Oh
there.
yes, yeah.
Very nice.
Is that like an iPad or like?
No, it's not. Everyone says that. Why the hell they call it a tablet for? It's a very, very sweet, indulgent sweet. To be fair, it's like looks a bit like a fudge bar when you look at it. But it's so nice, nice.
You immediately have my full attention.
If you to put it this way, if you eat one bar, that's probably equivalent to about 6 million Mars bars.
Oh, okay, right,
yeah,
okay.
It's like that.
And going back to the conversation we were having earlier, Nev, before we got on air here, are they absolutely worth the calories? That's the question.
Well, my doctor would say not,
no,
but
okay.
I shall disagree with him on this occasion, because they were, it's all great. All the food in Scotland's wonderful, and of course, if you're partial to a wee dram, then there's plenty of distilleries. In fact, I went past a couple of distilleries that I used to visit in a professional capacity. I don't mean a professional drinking capacity, but when I used to look after some of the audiovisual systems up there, 20 years, 30 years ago. really nice. And still very popular part of the world. Lots of Americans and Canadians over for a bit of golf playing as well. And of course, the weather being so good, it was brilliant for them. So that was marvellous. So, but nice to be back as well. It's always nice to go away, but nice to come home as well.
Come home, yeah. Right, let's see who's joining us in the chat room this evening for the show. Top of the list, Mazouz was in there. Good evening to you. Hobby Time says, hi, guys. Richard Adams, evening from a very sunny Isle of Wight. How lovely. Captain Cruz. Captain Cruz put in the chat room, can I beat Mazouz to be first? No,
of course not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Looking forward to coming back to the Isle of Wight in October, by the way, Richard. So look out. Another drink is very much on the cards.
Good. The lovely Tanya is also in there. Good evening to you as well. Dirk S. Hello, Dirk. Alan White, our friend over in Ireland, is also in there. Good evening from a rainy west of Ireland, Alan says. Darren Smith says, evening, ladies and gents. Trust your wings are clean. Yeah, my wings are always
clean. Beg your pardon?
The lovely Masha's also in there. Hello to Masha. Captain Cruz is in the chat room. We've got, let me scroll down, David Corsten. Hello, David. Good to see you in there.
David!
Hello.
Wow.
Bill is in there as well. He's commenting earlier on the Dash 200 737. Says, great with the gravel kit. Yeah, they were. They looked quite cool with those on. Who else we got? John Main is in there. Says, a tablet is healthy, says. I don't know,
of course, absolutely. Yeah.
They do a popcorn version as well, which is awesome. Oh, my word.
Have they ever done what they've done with the Mars bar and deep fried one?
Oh, I don't know about that. Next time our friends send us some down, Matt, I will throw some your way.
Yeah, I'll definitely need to try it. It sounds right up my street, yeah.
Right, don't forget, if you are joining us via the Realms of Audio World, we are live on YouTube every Wednesday at 7 o'clock. Make sure you search for us, Plain Talking UK. Don't forget to hit the subscribe and the bell icon to be notified when we're live recording a show like we are now. We'd love to have you in the chat room. So loads to get through tonight, including our retro airline ad of the week. We've got a double helping of that this week. Also, it's our giveaway. We're giving away the prize tonight of that fuselage cut from that Jet 2 757 Nev. There we go.
The hat is at the ready. The A350 XWB hat is full of the correct answers.
And if you haven't...
They were all the correct answers if you think about it.
They're all the correct answers.
Yes, they are. Otherwise they wouldn't be in the hat. Yes, absolutely.
Our question was, or our thing was, can you just send us your favourite airline movies? And we've got plenty of them in there.
And if you haven't done so already, it's not too late if you're watching the live version of this show. As long as you get it into us very, very shortly. Do it straight away if you haven't done it already. You can email podcast@plaintalkinguk.com. Get your entry in, and Nev will still have time to pop it into the hat. I love how I'm giving Nev things to do already. Anyway, there we go.
That's okay.
Yeah,
that's all right. Don't worry about that.
Okay.
Right, that's it. We've got some commercial news to do. So if all the team are ready to rock.
Yep, we are.
The captain has turned on the seatbelt light. Please take your seats and fasten your seatbelts.
So the first story this week comes from uknews.yahoo.com. And European airline cancels 1,400 summer flights amid pilot shortage. Are we still going on about pilot shortage? Thousands of UK holidaymakers' summer's travel plans are in turmoil after a European airline has cancelled 1,400 of its flights. Swiss International Airlines has axed around 1.5% of its schedule for departures until October this year. Swiss International Airlines, who has axed their departures, according to air passengers' rights company Air Advisor, as many as 50,000 UK passengers will be affected by the cancellations, including those with connecting and indirect itineraries. AirAdvisor estimates that between 10 and 15 flights will be impacted daily, with UK to Switzerland routes out of Heathrow, London City, Manchester and Edinburgh representing up to 12% of cancellations. It added that Swiss's cancellations will impact competitors' airlines such as BA and EasyJet as demand increases on short-haul routes to Zurich and Geneva. Long-haul passengers bound for Shanghai and Chicago will also be impacted by the cancellations this summer. Anton Radencho, founder of AirAdvisor, said with the latest wave of Swiss cancellations, summer just got a little bit more complicated for UK travellers. He said we're not seeing demand problems, but a staffing and scheduling bottleneck. Flights are getting axed, not because people aren't flying, but because airlines don't have enough fully trained pilots to operate them. Pilot shortages, particularly affecting crews on the A320, 321, 330, 340 aircraft, reports Aviation 24. Travellers due to fly on the cancelled Swiss journeys are entitled to full refunds and free rerouting under the EU 261 regulation. Swiss is currently has a shortage of pilots to ensure that all scheduled flights can be operated. It said they regret that we are unable to offer these connections as planned and will inform the customers affected as soon as possible. The changes to the flight schedule will be made as early as possible in order to minimise the inconvenience to the passengers and to find the best possible alternative solutions for them. They said, we are doing everything in our power to achieve this. Our priority is to rebook passengers onto the next flights and best alternative Swiss flights. If this isn't possible, we'll switch to other airlines in the Lufthansa group. So, pilot shortage was I mean, this is quite serious, I would say, Nev. It's affecting an airline to the point that they're cancelling a ton of flights.
Yeah, isn't it weird though? Across different situations or different airlines in Europe, you've got some pilots being laid off, you've got some pilots taking early retirement, and now we've got a situation here where an airline hasn't got enough of them. And actually, if you...
Oh, hello. Hang on a moment. Bear with. Sorry about this, guys. Just bear with me. I'm just trying to get them back, so bear with me. Let me just trying to sort the issue out there. Not quite sure what's happened, but I'm just trying to get to the bottom of it. Bear with me. Hopefully they'll be coming back in a second as the connection resets now, and hopefully they should be back.
Nothing to do about the fact that everything is so expensive.
Hang on. Sorry, guys. We lost you for a significant period. The last thing we heard from you, Nev, was about that. And you can probably see from the graphic there, we've got a slightly odd frozen Nev. So just bear with me a moment while I try and get that put right. The last thing we heard you say, by the way, Nev, was talking about how strange the situation was, essentially, where you've got some people being laid off. And then then other airlines desperate for pilots. That's the last thing we heard. So we just need to pick it up from there. I'm just trying to sort out the frozen video. I don't know what's happened there, so apologies.
Stand by.
Standing by.
This wouldn't happen on APG, would it?
No, you're right.
You're right, Dave.
They wouldn't have started. That's why.
Well, no.
Bear with me. Hopefully that should now free up the video. There we go. And you're now live.
Nev's moving.
Yep. Okay, yeah. So that was the last thing we heard you say, Nev, before it went down. So
that was a bit weird, wasn't it?
Yes.
As I was saying before, I was slightly interrupted there. We have this situation where you've got some airlines that are laying off crews, and others like Swissair that just are Swiss that don't have the airline, the crew in the first place. But if you just think about what 1,400 flights is as a cancellation, that's a big number, isn't it? And it's affecting them until October of this year. So whilst you might say, well, actually, that's the summer done for them, and then they're into the skiing season. Actually, summer represents quite a large chunk of revenue, doesn't it? Between now or say middle of June, when the kids normally in Switzerland finish school and what have you. all the way through to October. That's a big hit, isn't it? I can't imagine what that will do to the revenue figure for, well, effectively, where are we now? 5-6 months worth of revenue. Incredible, isn't it?
But it's like I was going to say, Nev, it's no surprise that the shortage of pilots is still an issue because of the cost involved with training and stuff. Although we are seeing some more kind of programs, aren't we, Nev? We talked about one a few weeks ago, didn't we? I think was it EasyJet was running a recruitment program. Or was it Jet? It was one of the airlines.
EasyJet were running one, weren't they? Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, but we are seeing some more of those coming on. But it is still regardless of all the programs in the world, it still does. The cost is still there for young people who may want to become a pilot.
Prohibitively expensive, in my opinion, as well. I mean, we both know a very competent and capable person who would have been a brilliant pilot. Dear Nangle, bless him. And in the end, I mean, he'd invested, he'd taken out second mortgages and all that kind of thing, invested with a view to becoming a pilot, and then it just reached a point literally where they just couldn't get any more money. And that's, in many ways, that's so criminal that a very competent person was unable to make the dream come true, really.
Well, also, I think the other problem here is if you haven't got the crews flying the aircraft are on the ground, aren't they? So we know what happens when that goes on. You're into potential unreliability and extra maintenance and that kind of stuff, just to keep the fleet running. So it's I can't imagine what the real revenue number would be in order to to mitigate all this. But it's a huge hit, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. So, Matt, you've got the next story. We're off to Ryanair for this one, as always. And this is a story we covered a while back on the show, and it's kind of reared its uncomfortable head again.
Yeah, it has. And once again, they're claiming no truth to the rumour either. It's Euronews.com is the source. And the headline is, budget airline Ryanair denies claims it will soon offer cheaper standing seats. A series of recurring viral posts has falsely claimed that Ryanair and other low-budget airlines will soon use standing saddle seats, though the airline has denied this. Low-budget travel has soared over the past decade, and it is hard to think of a cheaper option than Ryanair, which has been known to offer flights for as little as €7.99. However, recent viral posts have claimed that the Irish airline will soon offer an even cheaper option of standing seats. These seats would resemble bicycle saddles, mounted vertically, allowing passengers to lean rather than sit fully. Passengers would essentially be in a semi-upright position, supported by a padded narrow seat, which includes a backrest to stabilise the passenger's posture. Additional safety features typically shown in the mock-ups of these designs include harness-style seat belts or straps intended to secure passengers during takeoff, landing and turbulence, along with vertical poles connecting each row to the aircraft ceiling for added stability. It is a very compact arrangement that allows airlines to accommodate more passengers per cabin on short-haul flights. Several travel-focused outlets and social media posts allege that Italian manufacturer Aviation Terriers had been going to provide these seats to Ryanair, which would in turn start offering them as a flight option as soon as 2026. However, the company has confirmed to Euronews that it has no plans to do so, while the company making the new stand-up seats, official communications confirmed that the Skyrider, a standing seat mock-up often featured in these claims, is in fact a conceptual prototype dating back to 2012 and is not part of the official lineup of their products. Still, the origin of the viral claims actually traces back to past statements by Ryanair's CEO Michael O'Leary, who is known for suggesting unconventional cost-cutting ideas. As far back as 2010, O'Leary discussed the theoretical concept of standing seats to maximise airplane space and offer extremely low fares. He also proposed the idea of pay-per-use onboard toilets in 2009. We all remember that one, as well as a fat tax that would impose extra charges on overweight passengers. However, these ideas were discussed as jokes or attention-grabbing tactics, and no plans were ever formally drafted. So the ultimate question, of course, could standing seats work? Although no airline has yet confirmed the use of the standing seats, the concept could, in principle, be feasible on a very short-haul flight. The standing seats designed by the company we mentioned earlier have already undergone preliminary safety tests and have shown that they could withstand the emergency landing conditions and rapid evacuation requirements mandated by aviation regulators. These tests suggest that, from a purely safety standpoint, it might be possible to meet the rigorous standards set by the agencies like the European Union Aviation Safety Agency. The primary issue airlines and manufacturers face is actually passenger comfort. Even on brief flights, the semi-standing posture seats would adopt on the saddle-style seats raises concerns about discomfort, fatigue, and circulation problems. Likewise, airlines already face criticism over shrinking legroom and cramped conditions. Introducing standing seats would generate significant backlash, while surveys indicate a small niche of ultra-budget carriers might embrace standing seats if fares were extremely low. Widespread public adoption would likely be challenging and limit the airline's commercial viability. I mean, so I think my take on this one is, at the moment, certainly as things are at the moment, I would struggle to do like a 3-hour flight or something like that. But I have to say, it wouldn't bother me that much on if you were doing like a short hop from, let's say, Stansted to Ireland. I mean, that flight is what, 45 minutes end to end. I mean, that's not too bad. I think, and in many respects, the option to stand, especially on a short flight, that would actually be preferable.
I don't know if you got the pictures there, Matt. I know I dropped a few in the drive for the.
Yes,
for the
I know,
story,
but I'm a man. I'm unable to do the multitask thing. Sorry about that.
When you look at these seats, they just remind me. I don't know whether you've seen these, Nev. They just remind me of something you'd see on a bus. You know, taking it down to the local supermarket for some shopping.
I don't like the angle of what would be the seating position. It just reminds me slightly on the London Underground. They've got similar seats to these where you sort of prop yourself up against the wall almost, and it's just the most uncomfortable thing, let alone, you know, for 45, 50 minutes, but just 10 minutes to a couple of stops on the tube.
Fair, yeah.
Oh, dear, that just looks horrific to me.
Yeah, no, fair.
Darren Smith.
Yes, I think he's got a very good point there, hasn't he? Darren, who says, I've just lost his comment now. Where's he gone? Yes, he says, my eyes are watering over the sitting on a saddle idea. Yeah.
Yeah, Paul Tricker says in the chat room, a little weird, no problem standing for a... it's just jumped. Why has that just jumped? No, he took the comment out. He did say about standing for a short amount of time on this kind of flight, but if you were anything over kind of, well, you know, from somewhere to Ireland, like Matt said, it wouldn't be too bad. But if you were flying, you know, say to Malta, to where we're off to soon, the 3-hour flight, just under 3-hour flight, I don't think I want to spend 3 hours in that kind of position. I mean, for a lot of people as well, who have got certain health conditions, such as, well, you know, my knee is buggered anyway, but, you know, you people have got certain conditions within their joints and stuff.
Yeah.
This is not going to be a feasible way to sit or stand or however you want to call it for more than...
And also, I mean, as an observation, both you and the cabin crew all looked at me quite concerned when we had what I can only describe as an extremely rough landing when we came in to Ireland. I mean, where would we stand on those grounds in terms of that, because if it's a proper rough landing, you know, I mean, you're going to need a sort of legs and torso harness, aren't you, to be able to cope with that?
Or as the commentator that was commentating on the British Touring Car Championships said on Sunday, that would be a code brown, wouldn't it?
Quite, yeah.
Oh my word.
Yeah. So
Yes.
yeah.
Darren Smith says no good if you've got a certain ailment.
Quite.
Yes.
I really can't see EASA allowing this either. And also the other thing is, remember they have to evacuate the aircraft in 90 seconds, only using half of the available exits. Now, if you've got people already in the sort of semi-standing position, if you see what I mean, they're going to be out of there really, really quickly, potentially. And I think that's going to cause a lot of congestion, because at least when you have to get out of your seat and take your seatbelt off, there is some delay before you actually get going. Whereas this would be like, horses out of a trap at the 2:30 at Kempton Park or something, you know.
Well, so,
yeah, I don't know.
Very true.
But it's, I mean, great marketing. I mean, you can't knock Ryanair for that at all. But whether it's going to be a reality or not is a whole different question, I think.
And they're very much in the camp of, like, any form of publicity is good publicity as far as they're concerned. I mean, I've seen some of the most horrendous stories that have gone viral and all this kind of thing, and yet, you know, it never seems to hurt the brand, does it? In fact, they are not afraid to turn on people on their own Twitter channel, are they? Or Twitter, X channel, doing that. They're not afraid to sort of, you know, go for it, are they? They're certainly not PC with a lot of their social media comments.
Rich Adams says in the chat room, most Ryanair passengers tend to have ailments, as in...
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah, they're already well lubricated before they get on the flight, even if it is 6:15 in the morning. And they've had a couple of lagers already, yes. Or maybe more than that, yeah. Right. Well, it's an interesting talking point, and I'm sure we'll be coming back to it several times a year, as we always do. But if this does ever happen, of course, we will have to go on the flight, won't we? One of the first ones to be on, if this ever happens. So, yeah.
Just as long as Global don't try it. Sorry. Anyway, moving on, Nev.
I'm glad I wasn't on the show last week, because there was obviously a lot of discussion about that.
There was a bit, yeah.
Airline, I would imagine, yes. Yeah.
No, we had a story for you, I think it was a few weeks ago when you were on, Nev, regarding passports. And I thought I'd drop this one in here for you this week regarding passports. Yeah,
well, we've just had all this business a couple of weeks ago, as you said, about passport validity and what's allowed and what's not allowed. This is a new thing here completely on glasgowlive.co.uk. It says that a British Airways passenger was not allowed to catch their flight due to overlooking one detail on their passport, meaning that they had to stay behind whilst their partner went on holiday. As the busy holiday season nears, travellers are encouraged to thoroughly inspect their passports, not only for expiration dates, but also for any physical damage that might lead to problems at the airport. Although normal wear and tear is usually seen as insignificant, even slight problems like tiny rips, water stains or loose pages can lead passengers being stopped from boarding or denied entry at customs. This happened to one passenger who couldn't travel with his partner due to issues with his passport. In a viral TikTok video, a couple faced an unexpected split when the woman ended up travelling solo after her boyfriend was not allowed to board due to a minor tear in his passport. In the video, Lauren, known as Lauren Not _fit online,
rolls off the tongue, doesn't it?
Shared her story, claiming when British Airways don't let your boyfriend board because of a small tear in his passport, but tell you to take your flight because had a friend who got a new passport in 4 hours. Right. In response, a spokesman from British Airways issued a statement which read, airlines are required by law to ensure that all documents presented for travel are valid, and our staff are trained to ensure that our customers' documents presented for travel meet the legal requirements. So what is the deal between passport wear and tear versus damage? This is quite an interesting spreadsheet, I would imagine, if you're in the mood for one of those. But the Travel Republic's holiday specialists recommend that people carefully check their passports before heading out this summer to prevent any unforeseen issues that may spoil their trip right from the start. They say if your passport shows any significant physical damage, especially to the personal details or security features, it is likely to be considered invalid for travel. So here are how different conditions are typically assessed. So I'll start with what the condition is and whether it's considered acceptable wear and tear or not, and what the considered damage is. So a minor scuff on the cover is considered acceptable wear and tear and not considered to be damaged. Personal details page are unreadable. It is not acceptable wear and tear, and it is considered damaged. Laminate peeling on the name page, obviously not acceptable, but is considered damaged. Small tear on the blank visa page sometimes can be called acceptable wear and tear, but it is considered damage if it is severe as well. Missing or detached pages, that is not acceptable wear and tear, and it is considered damaged. Water, ink or chemical stains on the details page, obviously not acceptable wear and tear, and is considered damaged. Chip is not visible or not working. Well, the chip doesn't always work anyway, I have to say, but that is not acceptable wear and tear, and it is considered damage. The experts added, if your passport doesn't meet the correct conditions, you could be turned away at the airport or face last-minute stress arranging a new one. So don't let a damaged passport ruin your holiday. Check it now or before you book a holiday, and ensure you have time to apply for a replacement if needed. A lot of this falls into the category of common sense, I think, don't you? I think we all would say that our passport has to be of good quality. It's just obvious about, I think, what's acceptable and what's not. There might be some things that are slightly marginal, but I think you, as the owner of the passport, or the holder of the passport rather, you know whether that is good quality, don't you?
I like to think of it, if you're a regular traveller, like obviously you're a fairly regular flying, Ev. If you're heading to the airport a lot, lots of multiple times during the course of a month, over the course of a year, your passport is going to get wear. It's going to wear. There's, you might drop it on the floor, you might scuff it, or etc. But I always think that if most people like us, that you go on holiday once or maybe twice a year. Other than that, your passport is sitting in a safe or in a somewhere in your house out of the way. So I would have thought that most people's passports are fairly pristine.
Yeah, Ant makes a great point in the chat room. He says it's personal responsibility. That's a thing that's lacking these days. A quick visual can sort any future issues. Couldn't agree more, and absolutely spot on. Yeah, that's where we are in 2025. Lack of personal responsibility in so many areas and on so many subjects.
Darren Smith says, how about your 5-year-old grandchild drawing glasses and a beard on your photo with a crayon?
Well, if it's, of good quality and he's got an artistic flair for it, then it's reasonable, I suppose.
Oh, dear.
I am joking, obviously.
Oh. Your passport's right, isn't it, Matt? Yours is nice and shiny and new.
No, it's not new. In fact, I have it here in front of me, believe it or not.
Oh, you've got the red one, haven't you?
I've still got the red one. Look, there we go.
Yes.
And mine expires, bear with, 19th of July 2027. So not long to go before I need to renew it, sadly.
Ooh. Blimey. Well, I get to use my brand new one in a few weeks' time, so it'll be interesting to see how that copes at the E-gates, but more on that later. Right, moving on then to the next story, and good news for Wizz Air. And this is from Airbus.com. Airbus delivers first Pratt & Whitney powered A321XLR to Wizz Air. So over in Germany, 20th of May, the Wizz Air took delivery of its first of 47 A321XLR aircraft. The airline becomes the first in the world to operate the A321XLR powered by Pratt & Whitney's GTF or geared turbofan engines, and the first European low-cost cost operator of the type. Wizz Air's A321XLRs have 239 seats in a single-class configuration, featuring the newly designed airspace cabin with an innovative lighting system and multiple settings to create a perfect environment at different phases of the flight, including boarding, dining, and relaxing and sleeping and waking up. With the A321XLR joining its fleet, Wizz Air is enhancing its capacity to connect Europe and the Middle East. Wizz Air is an all-Airbus operator with a fleet of over 230 A320 aircraft in operation and 295 left to be delivered. The 321XLR is the next evolutionary step of the 320neo family, responding to the market needs for more payload and more range, creating even more flexibility and value for the airlines. It will deliver an unprecedented extra long range of 4,700 nautical miles, 30% lower fuel burn per seat compared with previous generation competitive aircraft, as well as reduced nitrous or NOx emissions and noise. So far, Airbus has secured more than 500 orders for the type. As with all Airbus aircraft, the 321XLR aircraft is ready to be able to operate with up to 50% sustainable aviation fuel. And Airbus is targeting it to have its aircraft capable of flying with up to 100% SAF by 2030. It's worth saying as well that our very own Captain Al was the skipper that took the delivery flight. And we've also got some pics of for those of you watching in the world of YouTube. We'll see on the screen our very own Captain Al there with 321XLR. And big thanks to Captain Al as well for giving us permission to pop these pictures on for you guys on the show tonight. So a bit of a kind of treat for you there for the PTUK viewers tonight with some pictures there of our very own Captain Al on that first delivery aircraft. What do you think, Nev?
Oh, it's brilliant, isn't it? Now, there's a lot of discussion about whether you would want to be on an aircraft for that long in that sort of configuration. But clearly, Wizz Air think people will want to do that. So that's going to open up some really interesting routes for them, certainly going into the Middle East. They're talking about quite sophisticated schedules for it as well, and the number that they've got on order as well is incredible, the options that you mentioned too. So I think it's going to be great, and I'm absolutely delighted that Al was chosen to bring the first aircraft back from Hamburg to Luton the other day. Really, really delighted for him personally, and he's going to come on the show in a couple of weeks' time. He's actually on holiday in the US, or will be, I think, from today or tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow he's going, I think. So he's going to see various people in the northeast areas of the US. But he's back in a couple of weeks' time, and he said he'll come on the show and tell us all about it, which is very nice of him. So
really
well done, Al.
Thank you very much
indeed.
That's going to be so cool.
Yeah.
Can't wait for that.
So good. It'd be good to get Al back on the show again. Matt, you've got the next one, and something I'm sure you've not tried doing on a commercial airline yourself.
That sounds utterly terrifying. The source on this one, sorry, got a slight technical glitch, bear with me. Yes, sorry, the source on this is mynorthwest.com, and the headline is Japanese airliner diverted to SeaTac after passenger tries to open exit doors.
Yeah.
May hilarity now ensue. A flight from Tokyo to Houston made an emergency landing in Seattle Saturday after a passenger tried to open two of the plane's exit doors. According to CNN, the incident was reported by the FBI and the Port of Seattle. The crew of the aircraft and passengers had to hold the person down. FBI officials say once on the ground, the person was taken to a hospital for medical evaluation. All Nippon Airways Flight 114 took off from Japan's Haneda Airport. Its intended destination was George Bush Intercontinental Airport in Houston. The Boeing 787-9 Dreamliner had been flying for close to 10 hours before being diverted to SeaTac Airport. It landed at around 4 a.m. Pacific time. CNN quoted Port of Seattle spokesperson Chris Gruslow. The Port of Seattle police were called due to reports of a passenger who attempted to open exit doors during the flight. None of the aircraft's crew members or passengers were hurt. A spokesperson for the Federal Aviation Administration told CNN, "Our report shows the flight diverted due to a passenger disturbance." The airline reports that when the jet arrived at SeaTac, another passenger also caused some sort of disturbance. That passenger was reportedly upset about being diverted and punched a bathroom door, according to the FBI. Officials say that person's actions were unrelated to the person who allegedly tried to open the exit doors. And in some respects, I can sort of understand the frustration, shall we say, of the one who punched the toilet door, because it's only happened to me once where I ended up in Manchester instead of London. As a result of a weather-related diversion.
You didn't punch a toilet door,
from
did you?
Derry Airport. I was pretty steamed. I'm not going to lie. I was pretty steamed. I mean, has that ever happened to you, Nev? Obviously, you did quite a lot of flying. Did you have many diverts in your flying?
I've had
time?
no diversions. I've just had things like when the aircraft couldn't pressurise properly on a trip to Brussels, so we just ended up at 8,000 feet and came back home again.
Right.
So we didn't actually get there at all. So I've not had a full-on diversion to another airport ever, I don't think. Just planes that never went, or we came back because of somebody had a heart attack on one of the flights coming out of Copenhagen once. So the flight was cancelled when we got back on the deck. So I've not had a diversion. But this is the whole business again of, can you open an aircraft door in flight, a pressurised aircraft? The answer is no, you cannot. So don't even try it. Simple as that. I think that the problem is that these situations can escalate very quickly indeed. And if the cabin crew don't take control of the situation, we've seen situations before where passengers now take control of the situation, and you can sometimes understand why they might do that, because you're not quite sure what you're dealing with in terms of the person. So someone who's feeling a bit bold perhaps might decide to get involved. Although that's not what happened on this case. But
no.
What I was really saying, it's a question of, the cabin crew are so well trained in all these airlines, but nonetheless, it's a real problem when you've got someone kicking off like that, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And terribly bad luck to essentially have two of them doing it. Sort of, although for separate reasons. So I do sort of get it, as I say, because the problem is we ended up in Manchester. There was because of the weather, if you like. The reason why we ended up there is because we were unable to fly back into Stansted because of weather. So it was a case of just trying to get back to sort of like to the UK, and in fact, in many ways, it would have been a lot easier if I'd have actually just not tried to fly home on a different route, if you see what I mean. Because that was a problem. Once I got to Manchester, it wasn't as simple as just getting on a bus to get back to Stansted, if you see what I mean. It just wasn't. It was a really stressful time. So I can understand why somebody might sort of lose their mind over it, but. Perhaps good communication and ways of solving the issue on the airline's part perhaps is where, we could get this, although,
I'm not suggesting that he should have done this, but perhaps punching the miscreant might have been a better thing for him to do rather than the bathroom door.
Certainly would have felt a lot better, I have no doubt, indeed.
Plain Talking UK does not condone violence.
No.
In any way. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Now, Nev, you've got the next story. Good news for anyone living in a sort of northern area of the UK.
Yeah, well, this should be an Andy Wilson story, really, shouldn't it? Because it's from his part of the world. It's on avitrader.com. By the way, where is Andy this week? He's gone to some sort of concert, isn't he, I think? A Greg Davis
yes,
concert.
Greg
the
Davis,
legend
yeah.
is,
Yes,
the legend
who is very funny, I have to say. If you ever get the chance to see Greg Davis,
100%.
go and see Greg Davis.
Yeah.
Don't listen to us. Just go and see Greg Davis.
Yeah, absolutely. Or Taskmaster, if you've not seen it. Amazing series.
Yes,
Anyway,
exactly. Anyway, well, EasyJet has unveiled plans to open a new 3-aircraft base at Newcastle Airport next year, in March, in fact, marking a significant step in its continued UK expansion. The move is expected to create approximately 130 direct jobs for pilots, cabin crew and engineers, and support around 1,200 jobs in the UK in total. The new base, which is EasyJet's 11th in the UK, will allow the airline to broaden its route network from Newcastle, serving a wide catchment area across the north of England and southern Scotland. The investment will enhance regional connectivity and help strengthen the airline's presence outside of London. Currently, EasyJet operates 8 routes from Newcastle, including flights to popular destinations such as Alicante, Amsterdam, Geneva, Malaga, Palma de Mallorca, Paris, Bristol and Belfast. A new wave of routes and package holiday offerings for summer 2026 is set to be announced in the coming weeks, and the opening of the Newcastle base forms part of EasyJet's strategy to capitalise on growth opportunities across its network. It also supports the airline's ambition to increase its share of the UK leisure market excuse me, and accelerate the growth of its holiday business, EasyJet Holidays. The announcement follows recent UK expansions, including the opening of a base at London Southend earlier this year and another at Birmingham International Airport in 2023. Additionally, 7 aircraft have been added to the UK fleet this summer. The UK remains EasyJet's largest market, with 56% of its passengers flying to and from UK airports. The airline is set to operate its largest ever UK flying programme this summer, offering over 33 million seats, which is an increase of 500,000 compared to last year, across 44 new routes and 3 new network destinations. That's some expansion, isn't it? So good for them. Good to see more regional bases being opened up as well, because it can be a bit London-centric, or around London-centric, can't it? But good to see that they're actually basing aircraft elsewhere to do some of those, some of the bucket and spade routes, and also some normal scheduled flying as well.
Tell you what, Matt, it would be nice. We've had the introduction of Ryanair to Norwich Airport. It would be lovely to have EasyJet slip in there as well and do some flights from there. It'd be good competition as well for Ryanair if they did that.
I genuinely don't think we'll ever see that, if I'm honest with you. I think I imagine there's a very strong... I wouldn't be at all surprised if there is some sort of special deal, if you like, for Ryanair to be there, because they don't like to sort of share, especially the smaller airports. They don't like sharing, do they?
We'll see. I think it would help to grow, because I know they're frantically trying to grow Norwich as a bit more of a London Norwich airport, but I think there is some definite scope for some expansion there at the airport if they're going to have more there, because I know that when especially when the Ryanair flights go from there during the week, I have heard from various people that the various shops and outlets could be quite busy before the flight, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Now we have got the next story, which is up from surenglish.com. Interesting website. Malaga Airport prepares for its first passenger drone flights getting off the ground.
Ooh.
So it's not a science fiction. Very soon, the first electric drone air taxis for passengers will soon start flying and operating from Malaga Airport to destinations on the Costa del Sol and other nearby areas. Initially, they'll be managed by pilots, but the plan is for the trips to become autonomous in the medium term. Malaga Airport will be among the first in Spain to offer these services, as its professionals are leading the way in developing of the new air mobility system in Spain. Enair's R&D Centre in Madrid has already begun the testing phase in an operations simulator with eVTOL vehicles, which is an acronym for electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft. Collaborating with technicians, pilots and aeronautical engineers from Spain's airport operator Arena, senior managers of the Malaga Control Tower are taking part in these tests, which are part of the Opera project, a European single sky R&D and I project. They said what we're looking for is the integration between medium and long haul or long range commercial aviation and the new urban or regional mobility, which can take you to a town, to the city centre, or to the resort, or your villa, or your farm, said Raul de Lago Torres, coordinator for ENAIR's southern region, who is one of the professionals leading the process. He said, we are investigating how this could be applied to Malaga with separate corridor, said Cesar Nava, a specialist in the type of this aircraft for the innovations team. He said what we are studying is whether the corridor could be continuously occupied with operational traffic within the U space, segregated from the controlled airspace, added Delago. The first test with the flight and control tower simulators has been established. The route for a future connection between Malaga and Granada airports. The initially planned location for the heliport, but equipped for aero taxis, is near the head of runway 13 and Malaga's outer ring motorway, where the long stay car park is in the area around Zapata neighbourhood. Get the Spanish out here now. Alurin de la Torre and the cargo terminal. According to the air traffic controllers, this will be an easier route to plan than the one being studied in this first trial. This is because the connection with Grenada will have access to the entire manoeuvring area of the Malaga airfield, where there's a route heading towards the western coastline would stay outside of it. The trip to Marbella would take around 15 to 20 minutes, according to calculations, and the aircraft would not have to fly too high either. The route could be done at either between 2,000 or 3,000 feet. That is at a maximum altitude of around 1,000 meters. So there we go, Nev. If you're heading off to Malaga, you can forget the coach transfer. You can grab yourself a drone.
Yeah, I'm with Hobby Time on this one in the chat room. He says you wouldn't catch me in one of them, and I'm in the same category, I have to say. I just don't like the sound of this. I'm sure there's an awful lot of research going on with regard to safety and all the rest of it, because that's what aviation is all about. But I don't know. It doesn't quite feel right to me. I'd sooner take the train or the coach.
Definitely a coach. Hey, Matt.
Oh, don't ask me. I haven't driven one for about 3 years now.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see when this all does happen. I mean, according to the story, it's going to happen. It's pending. It's going to happen. This will be a thing in Malaga, but I have to say it's a busy blooming airport there in Malaga.
Do you know the one thing that bothers me a little bit, and I'm sure I'm going to pop the picture back up, actually. I mean, the little pod I'm sure that you're sat in is extremely tough, I'm sure. But I have to say, on each extendable arm, there's 2 blades on each one that will all be running at an absolutely terrifying speed, obviously, in order to get the appropriate lift. What happens if something goes wrong or something breaks off, or like there's a quality issue with like one of the spindles or something like that? Because that thing could easily fly. I mean, I've had it with my little drone where one of the blades has popped off. And these are big and heavy and sharp. I mean, I'm sure somebody's thought about it, but it's just like, I just hope that pod
get a swift haircut.
You get a very swift haircut, but also, what would the impact be if you lose one of those arms, for example? Will it be controllable?
Darren Smith's got the answer for you, Matt.
Oh, okay. I can't see the chat room, I'm afraid. I can't see the chat room, I'm afraid.
Dead.
Okay, right. Fair.
Yes.
Short and sweet. Fair enough.
Short and sweet. No, I see what you're saying, mate. It is a bit of a worry. I mean, when you've got your drone you use at home.
Yeah.
And each of the blades, I'd imagine, has got one of those
4
guards
on
that
mine.
go around it. It's got the guards. Have they got guards that go around them to sort of stop you from,
No, mine hasn't actually.
Having a trim. So a lot of them do have the guards around there, but that particular picture you show on there doesn't show any kind of
guards or anything.
How shall I say it? Public protection.
Yeah, you almost need some. And also, I mean, how on earth are they going to get them out of there? Because they're all very well tightly packed in. I'm pretty sure if you fired up 2 of those. Anyway, lots of things to be concerned about there. Nev would never be in one, even if you paid him. There we go. It's yeah. And for
I would even take an angry taxi driver.
Oh, so
from the airport. And I've been in the back of many of those cabs, I can tell you.
Wow.
Oh,
Mark Priest in the chat room, Nev, says, does it drop Nev off in Benidorm?
Well, possibly.
Do you know what, Nev? Weirdly, and perhaps I'm doing you a terrible disservice, but I can't ever imagine you going and staying in Benidorm for some reason.
No, it's not my city of choice.
I mean, I think me and Nev me and Carlos would love it because we both love the TV program. But utter comic genius. But yeah, absolutely. But that is genuinely the only reason I have any interest in going to Benidorm, because I just want to go and see all the places that were in the TV show. That he's coming back, by the way.
He's coming back. Yeah, I know.
Very
Shock horror.
I know. Absolutely.
Looking forward to that.
I know.
Nev, you've got the next one. It's an update on that awful crash that happened last week, isn't it?
Yeah, this is on apnews.com, and you've probably, if you're an aviation enthusiast, I'm sure you've looked at VAS Aviation and the Blanco Lirio channel as well. They did some extensive reporting about this accident. This is the accident at San Diego, where the runway lights were out and a weather alert system wasn't working, and there was heavy fog when a pilot who had flown across the country made the decision to proceed with landing, but came up short and crashed into a neighbourhood, likely killing all 6 on board the aircraft, investigators said on Friday. Investigator Dan Baker of the NTSB said officials will work over the next year to determine what caused the Cessna 550 citation to crash just before 4 a.m. on Thursday. The jet was carrying a music executive and 5 others. No one in the neighbourhood of the US Navy housing died, but 8 people were treated for smoke inhalation from the fiery crash and non-life-threatening injuries. The pilot acknowledged the weather conditions for landing at the small airport were not ideal and debated diverting to a different airport whilst discussing the visibility with an air traffic controller at the regional FAA control tower, according to audio of the conversation posted by liveatc.net. The FAA had posted an official notice for pilots that the lights were out of service, but it's not known whether the pilot had checked this. He didn't discuss the lights being out with air traffic control, but was aware that the airport's weather alert system was inoperable. Ultimately, the pilot is heard saying that he'll stick with the plan to land at Montgomery Gibbs Executive Airport. Doesn't sound great, but we'll give it a go, he told the air traffic controller. Well, the plane crashed about 2 nautical miles from the airport, and Baker said that a power surge knocked out the weather system at the airport, but the pilot was aware of the fog, and an air traffic controller gave him weather information from Marine Corps Air Station Miramar, about 4 miles to the north. Assistant San Diego Fire Department Chief Dan Eddy said that the fog was so thick in the morning you could barely see in front of you. Former NTSB and FAA crash investigator Jeff Guzzetti said he thinks dense fog and fatigue after the pilot flew all night long were likely factors in the crash. This accident has all the earmarks of a classic attempt to approach an airport in really bad weather and poor visibility, Guzzetti said. And there were other airports that the crew could have gone to. He said pilots are required to check FAA posts called notices to airmen that alert pilots to any issues such as runway lights being out, and a whole host of other things, of course, as well. It's very tragic, isn't it, this accident? And although we don't know much of the details, it was my rather amateur speculation on this is that it was probably preventable by diverting elsewhere.
Yeah, that weather was not good.
Yeah,
at that airport. That fog was very, very, very thick indeed. And I know aircraft can land in bad weather like that, but there are certain limits, aren't there, Nev? Even with
Well, he'd flown all the way through the night as well, and I think he'd done a stop off beforehand, and this next sector was a long sector. I remember Captain Nick saying to us, many years ago, if you do long sectors as he was doing across the pond, not just from New York but from San Francisco as well, and you're arriving in the morning and you've got bad weather, even with all the landing aids that you've got at Heathrow, for example, and all the guidance available to you, it is a very stressful time, especially when you're when the circadian rhythm is out of whack with you, and you're perhaps 8-hour time difference involved as well, and you're doing challenging landings at the end of a flight, obviously, but yeah, it's a lot of fatigue. A lot of pilots have said to me that you can very easily get task saturated at that point, and you've just got to rely on your training and on CRM within the cockpit, and making sure everyone's in the loop properly. But it's a really, really difficult scenario, I'm sure.
So, Matt, you've got the last one, and this Nick threw this one in here this week. This is an interesting find, I will say.
Yes, quite. It's sorry. Sorry, I just had something freeze on me, but there we go. I think we're away now. It's travelandtourworld.com is the source, and the headline is UK tourists warned over £53 fine for standing early on planes in Turkey. As millions prepare for summer getaways, Turkey has introduced a strict new regulation that's turning heads and tightening wallets. Passengers caught standing up before their plane has fully stopped face a hefty fine of £53, leaving many travellers from the United Kingdom shocked before their holiday even begins. The new rule, enforced by Turkey's Aviation Authority, targets a common habit among travellers: unbuckling seatbelts and rushing to the aisle after landing. But now the eager move could result in a fine before you even left your seat. And the warning is real. Airlines are under instruction to report non-compliance, and fines are being issued on the spot. This change highlights a growing trend in aviation industry as airports get busier and safety concerns rise. Countries like Turkey are cracking down on in-flight behaviour. For UK tourists, that means rethinking routines that once felt harmless. This strict new rule, introduced by Turkey's Civil Aviation Authority, aims to crack down on the all too common practice of passengers unbuckling their seatbelts and rushing the aisle before the aircraft comes to a complete stop. Now that impulsive move could cost you more than just a disapproving glance. Airlines operating flights into Turkey are under new instructions. All passengers must remain seated even after the seatbelt signs are turned off, and wait until the aircraft reaches a full stop at its parking position. Failure to follow this rule will be treated as an official breach of aviation safety and subject to an immediate fine of £53 per passenger. This regulation is now active and being enforced across all Turkish airports, regardless of carrier or flight class. The move comes in response to increasing concerns over in-flight safety and post-landing order. Turkish authorities hope the fine will act as a deterrent to impatient passengers eager to grab their bags and bolt before the aircraft has safely parked. Authorities emphasise that rushing the aisle, even with the seatbelt light off, can lead to injuries, interfere with crew duties and slow down disembarkation, especially when passengers are transferring via bus from the tarmac to the terminal. With peak tourism season approaching and airport volumes climbing, enforcing discipline inside the cabin has become a top priority. British tourists are among the largest groups visiting Turkey each year. In 2023 alone, more than 3.7 million UK travellers entered Turkey for the holidays, beach breaks and cultural escapes. Many now risk unexpected penalty upon arrival. For passengers flying into Istanbul, Antalya, Dalaman or Bodrum, understanding and complying with this rule is now part of essential travel planning. Those who break the rules rules will not receive a warning. They'll just receive a fine, and that fine could hit before the sunscreen has even been unpacked. I'm going to bring the story there because I think we've got the gist of it.
We have, yeah.
I mean, I think my take on this. I mean, Nev, I'm sure this is not something that you indulge in. It is something, though, that you sort of perhaps put in a label of, like a business traveller who is keen to get off because he's got an appointment to make and things like that. I mean, I'm sure there have been times, Nev, when you have been keen to get off as soon as possible.
Well, quite, yes. But we can't get off until the aircraft has come to a complete stop and the engines have been shut down, as they say. Now, several things have happened to me in the past. You know, where I would normally sit. I don't know if I've ever mentioned the seat I like.
Seat 1A by any chance?
That's the one, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Often, I think Iberia a couple of times, definitely. We've not even turned on to the stand yet, and there's people getting their bags from behind me, and one person in particular was coming steaming down the aisle because he got a connecting flight. The cabin crew went... I nearly said a very bad word there. Yeah. They were terribly cross with him.
They were enthusiastic.
Yes, and encouraged him to sit down immediately. I've seen that. Oh, I'm going to get into trouble with my American colleagues here. Sorry, Tanya and co. But I've seen it more in the US than in Europe, certainly, I would say. But yeah, and the cabin crew I've seen are extremely animated when it comes to telling people to sit down. Now, during the pandemic, if you can remember back that far, I thought that BA did quite a good job of this, actually, because they wanted to deboard the aircraft in a controlled fashion, sort of 10 rows at a time. They made a PA after we had landed, we had taxied off of the runway and we're on the taxiway. They just said, can you please not all get up at once, and we'll tell you when you can take your seatbelt off and deboard the aircraft. So you can take your seatbelt off, but please don't get up to get your bags. This was to avoid the crowding during all the pandemic stuff that was going on. I have to say that did work very well. That was a far more controlled situation. But what they were doing wrong, in my view, is at the top of descent, they were putting this announcement out originally. Of course, by the time people got on the deck, they'd forgotten all about that. But on a couple of occasions, they did actually remind us that was how they were going to deboard the aircraft. And it did work quite well. So it may not work in every situation, but having a fine... How enforceable is that? I don't know.
I guess if it's the rules and that if that is the rule that has been agreed with the Turkish Aviation Authority and you are on their turf, essentially, I guess it's very enforceable.
No, that's true. And they know what seat number you're in, aren't they? So, Bill makes an excellent point. He says, does this mean that Ryanair will soon offer the ability to stand up early if you pay £53?
Absolutely. I imagine by the end of this podcast, that will be very much in place. The only reason, Carl, see, I'm one of those where I'm actually quite chilled out about it. And I don't know if I mentioned it at all, but I went to Dubai in November last year, and I may have had the best time ever. And thoroughly enjoyed both of my flights, which is something that I never thought I would ever say. And I just sat there basically watching all the carnage ensue around me. And it was just like, it's like I've really got nowhere to hurry off to, if you see what I mean, because I'm here on holiday. Like, as I say, I do get it if you're Nev and you're late for another appointment or something like that. I totally get that. But like when you're on holiday. What is 10 minutes going to do? As you said, and like Nev's saying there, quite often they're not even at the gate yet. They're still trundling down the taxiways and all this kind of thing. And the only time I've ever seen Carlos stand up as soon as he possibly could to get away is because he's desperate to go and visit the cockpit, of course. That's the only reason he's on his feet early doors, is just to go and pester the poor crew.
It's worth paying 53 quid for that, sure.
Well, quite, absolutely, indeed.
Can always charge it back to PTUK. So, yeah.
My theory on this, guys, is that when you fly long haul and you've got a 20 kilo or whatever suitcase checked in the hold, I've never been to an airport and got off the aircraft and that suitcase has been going around on that carousel before I get to the baggage reclaim. So if you're rushing off the plane, you've still got to wait for your suitcase anyway. And 9 times out of 10, it takes a phenomenal amount of time for that suitcase to appear on the carousel. The last time I flew, long haul, it took ages at Heathrow for that case to be, coming around there. So, plus, as you guys have quite rightly pointed out, a flight deck visit on landing is far more important than getting off. There you go.
Oh dear! But I think it's a problem in general. I mean, the train line I take from my house when I'm going into London, it's about 35 minutes, something like that. And when there's about 10 minutes to go before we get into the station terminus, people are already up, getting their bags, and of course. Yeah. They can't get off the bloody train, pardon my French, until the train has arrived at the terminus. So it's I don't know. It's I think it's one of those things, isn't it? And of course, you then translate that into the aviation world, and you get people trying to stand up and get their stuff before the thing's even gone on the stand.
But there we go. You've heard it here first. This is what we do. That's the best way to do it. The PTUK way. Sit down, wait, and then go on the flight deck. Anyway, moving on. Nev, what have we got coming up next for our loyal listeners?
Well, it's the favourite part of the show, for me at least. Retro Airline Ad of the Week. This week, it's a double helping of retro goodness, where we look at one airline that's not taking everything away and another that was first at everything. And I mean everything. But was that ending a bit of health and safety risk? Well, you can be the judge. Have a look at this.
While other airlines are taking things away, Continental still offers things like pillows, blankets, and meals at mealtime. In other words, everything you should expect from an airline. Continental Airlines. Work hard, fly right.
For some reason, people think all airlines are the same. They're not. Several airlines bought 747s, but TWA built the first 747 terminal. TWA was the first airline to give you private customs and immigration facilities. Most other airlines still share. Only TWA gives you a choice of 2 movies on every movie flight. At busier airports, we moved our departures to 15 minutes before the hour, so thousands of our passengers beat the crowds every day. For years, the coach passenger has helped pay our bills. We're paying him back with a whole new coach service on TWA ambassador flights. Whether you're flying in the United States or around the world, it pays to spend your money carefully. All airlines are not the same.
He seems very angry about that. Yes, very angry indeed, doesn't he? It's just like, making it very clear that all airlines are not the same.
I love Mash's comment in the chat room. Wow, 2 movies.
Oh, that's exciting, isn't it? Yeah.
I must say, I did like that Continental one. And there's a part of me, as you might have gathered, I quite like aggressive cabin crew sticking it to the passengers. And they were certainly doing it on that flight, weren't they? But brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
It's so amusing. Honestly, they get better. I swear. But as it's been commented on in the past, you notice that most of these do come from the US. That it's hard to try and find some kind of European or UK adverts. But my search will continue to put some more in the.
I mean, I'm impressed that you have found so many, Carlos. It's a brilliant treasure chest of stuff, isn't it? Absolutely fantastic.
Dirk Guess is saying in the chat room, quite the aggressive fellow. Fly with us or I'll punch your face.
Yes.
That's a service for you. Right. Next part of the show then, it's time for Nev's favourite part is, of course, the military segment. Don't worry. Don't worry, Nev. Don't panic. It's a nice, easy one this week. So,
All right.
Matt, are you ready?
What's up, bogeys? 13550, Angel 16. Heading 340. Okay. 100 St. Bogeys.
And the first one comes to us from the BBC.co.uk this week. And I'd love to get down to see this because I bet it looks stunning. Historic aircraft restored to its former glory. So the Royal Air Force has announced last week the iconic aircraft has been restored to its former glory. Now, this aircraft is over at Royal Air Force Brize Norton. It's the Dakota Gate Guardian, which has stood watch over its 47 Air Dispatch Royal Logistics Corps in Oxfordshire since being moved from its original base at RAF Lynham in Wiltshire back in 20th of January 2013. Its restoration, which took around 3 months, was crowdfunded by current and former serving personnel. Captain Joshua Lakey of the 47th Air Dispatch Squadron said the freshly painted Guardian was not only a visual powerful landmark, but also a tribute to the generations who've served with distinction. I don't know whether you had the pictures there, Matt, of that in there.
There are no pictures.
Did I not put any in there? Oh,
Needed.
blimey.
No.
My bad. It does look good. If you get a chance to Google that, it does look really, really good. And if you get a chance to go and if you live near Brize Norton, it's a very busy base. It'd be nice to go and see that one there.
Well, I don't live very far from Brize Norton, so I could always pop over there and see if I could take a couple of pictures if they would allow me to do that. I realise it's military, but I will do it.
Wow, you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Super important. Nev is going to go and ogle military-based aircraft. This is super exciting.
Yes, but no, it's great, isn't it? Really good news that they've managed to do that. So yeah, fantastic.
Now, Nev, you've got the next story. Reluctantly, he says in the show notes, and it's all about drone hunting.
Well, yeah, and of course, I say reluctantly because it's full of acronyms again, but we'll see how we go with it. It's on twz.com, and it says that a picture has emerged showing a US Air Force F-15E Strike Eagle loaded with at least 3 7-shot 70mm rocket pods under its left wing. If the jet had 3 more pods on the right side, this would amount to a whopping 42 rockets, which could be carried together with 8 traditional air-to-air missiles. Such a loadout would turn the F-15E into a flying counter-drone and cruise missile arsenal ship capable of an incredible 50 engagement opportunities minus the gun. The Air Force has already proven the extreme value of laser-guided 70mm Advanced Precision Kill Weapon System 2, which is APKWS-2, rockets, in the air-to-air role in combat on the F-16. News TWZ first broke earlier this year and had continued to follow very closely. Integrating APKWS-2 into the F-15E's arsenal isn't surprising, especially considering how active these aircraft have been encountering lower performing aerial threats. The picture of the rocket-armed F-15E first appeared on social media accounts for The Merge, a military aviation podcast and associated newspapers last week. It says an Air Force F-15E Strike Eagle testing laser-guided rockets was spotted with a 6-pod 42 rocket loadout in flight test, The Merge wrote in an accompanying post on Instagram. Though The Merge says that the aircraft was carrying 6 rocket pods at the time, only 3 are clearly visible in the image on the jet's left underwing pylon. But a symmetric load makes perfect sense. So pods full of laser-guided APKWS-2 rockets are relatively easy to spot since the weapons are longer than the unguided 70mm types and their noses protrude noticeably from the front as a result. As it exists now, APKWS-2 consists primarily of a laser guidance section sandwiched between one of a variety of warhead types and a standard 70mm rocket motor. The F-16 seen in the picture also has an Echo Tango tailcode reflecting an aircraft assigned to the 96th Test Wing headquartered at Eglin Air Force Base in Florida. I can confirm that the picture was taken here at Eglin Air Force Base. Gabriel Myers, a spokesman for the 96th Test Wing, told TWZ when asked for more information about the image of the rocket toting F-15E. The Eglin Air Force Base test community, through strong partnerships, have aggressively conducted integrated tests of the Advanced Precision Kill Weapon System. By working at speed to ensure advanced capabilities have the intended effects, we increase warfighter readiness and lethality to meet the global demands of the joint force. When the F-15E might be cleared to operationally employ APKWS-2 rockets is unclear at this stage. Hope you enjoyed that section.
You've done so well to get through there, Nev. Hats off to you.
I find reading military stories very difficult.
Challenging.
Not because of the subject particularly, but just the way they're always written, the way the press releases are written.
And this is where we miss Armando, really, isn't it? Because he was able to make sense of these things, wasn't he? Because he understood it. I mean, it was literally his job for many years. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Right, on to slightly more exciting things for us, obviously with an update from the Brize show. Nev, it's where we're heading to for this summer.
Yes, or something I can talk about easily. So some air shows, which you may have heard us talk about, starting to get closer now, isn't it? Saturday, the 21st of June, we are going to the Duxford Summer Air Show. And if you want to get tickets, I would encourage you to do that fairly quickly. I would imagine that they are running out, but if you do want tickets, you can pay £54.50, and that includes the price of the £5 parking ticket. If you're a member of the Imperial War Museum, that gets reduced down to £49.55. Children under 15 go free. But you have to be accompanied by an adult in order to do that. If you are driving to the show, you must book a parking permit, and you won't be able to park on site without that. That's £5, so that's £49. So in total of £49.55 if you're a member there. The next one we're going to is the Shuttleworth Summer Air Show. I hope the weather stays nice for all of these, by the way. On Saturday, July the 26th. The gates open at 9 o'clock in the morning, and the first flying commences at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So there's some ground attractions during the day. Lots of burger fans and hot dog fans, I would imagine. Whoa. So I should be looking forward to that. And there's two sections of flying. The first one starts at 2 o'clock, as I mentioned, and the second one begins at 7:30 in the evening for an hour. So that should be quite nice, as long as the weather holds up as well. Pricing for that, £42 for adults. If you're a member of Shuttleworth, it's £36, and children go free. Now, we mentioned the Brize Air Show, the Brize Air Display. That's on Saturday, August the 2nd. They have got their website up and running now, which is brizeairdisplay.com. And if you go to that, you'll see all the details. It's the biggest public free event in Ireland. They've got information on there now about all sorts of things. Car parking is mandatory there. So if you are thinking of going and you've got a car, you've got to pay €12 for your car park, and you must have a car park permit in order to park your car. We'll be talking to Alan about this in the next couple of weeks, I'm sure, as we get closer to what we're going to be doing there. But Carlos and I are going to be there. Mrs. Nev is going to be there as well.
Oh, say.
Even one of my customers my former customers is going to be there. I found out today as well. So my old colleague Liam is coming along, who lives not far from Bray. So he's going to be there as well. But it looks like a very busy show, actually, from what I'm hearing. So look forward to hearing some more detail as we get closer to it. Saturday, the 30th of August, so right at the end of August, It's the Beccles PTUK Summer Meetup. And just speaking to Captain Al, as I was this week, he's going to try and make it as well.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
Hopefully be flying in his PA-28 or driving if the weather's not so good. So that'll be nice. So more details about that nearer the time. But if you can make it, we're all going to be there Saturday, the 30th of August. And hopefully Carlos might be in his new house.
Yeah,
well.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. We hope. We'll find out more when I get back from holiday. Hopefully our solicitors will have some good news for us, all being well. Right, Nev, it's competition giveaway time, isn't it, Nev?
It is. So I've had to do a bit of work here by using my A350 XWB hat here, and all of the entries are in there. So just a reminder of what it was. We're giving away a fuselage piece cut from the jet to Boeing 757-200, registration Golf Lima Sierra Alpha India. India. Yes.
Yeah.
That was retired this year. Engraved with the aircraft's details. It'll make an excellent addition to any AvGeeks collection. So we asked you to drop us an email with your favourite aviation-related films, and we've put them all together. Actually, we've compiled a PTUK top 5. So should we just run through those to start with before we dive into the hat?
Yes.
So we've got a top 5 one. What was the first one, Carlos?
So at number 5, it's American Made, released back in September 2017, starring Tom Cruise. Had a budget of $50 million.
Wow, amazing. Number 4 was Flight, released in October 2012, starring Denzel Washington as an alcoholic pilot.
Oh, lovely.
Matt?
I haven't got it in front of me, I'm afraid.
Nope. Top Gun made it in at number 3. This is the original Top Gun, released back in May 1986, starring Tom Cruise and, of course, the late Val Kilmer.
Number 2, Airplane, released in June 1980. I can't believe it's that old. Had a budget of $3.5 million, but actually took $171 million at the box office. So quite a good turn there, I would say. And you know what number 1 is, don't you?
So at number 1 in our PTUK aviation film chart, it is Sully, released back in 2016. Features the amazing landing, of course, on the Hudson River by Sully Sullenberger there with that A320. And so big thanks to everyone who submitted. We could have made probably a top 30 list, to be fair.
Oh, nice.
There's lots of great other films in there as well, but that was kind of the average of the ones that the vote or sort of talked about the most for the various emails. But some great great inputs from all the listeners for the films. There's some ones in there which there's a couple there which were emailed to us earlier on in the week which I hadn't seen for ages, which are now on my to-do list on streaming services, so going to watch those this weekend.
It's a nice prompt, actually, when we get listeners telling us about films that they enjoy or have seen, and we've all forgotten about. We've not seen them before, or for ages at least.
So there is, for those of you watching in the world of, let me put that in the right camera. There we go. For those of you watching in the world of YouTube, there is the skin square cut from the 757-200. With the engraved, that is actually engraved on there as well. I don't know if you can see that in YouTube, but it's
you haven't
just
done a 3D printing of that, have you?
No.
It's the real thing.
And there's the back side of said piece, which is kind of an interesting colour, and it's not very thick. I don't know if you can see that in the world of YouTube. That fuselage skin from the 7.5 is not the thickest. Comes with its little certificate here as well. From the guys over at Plane Reclaimers there for you to put on your wall. There we go. Over to you, Nev, to pull out the winner of this piece.
Yeah, I like the look of that certificate. It looks really nice, actually. So let me have a rummage around in the A350 hat, which is... actually, I must get a new one of these. It's getting a bit warm. So... let's have a look then. I shall pull one out of the... one did drop on... I'll tell you what, one dropped on the desk there, so I'm just going to
That's what she said.
redo. Well, yes, I don't want to have anyone, accuse me of cheating like that. So
It's just as well I've got a 10-minute drone, isn't it? Honestly.
quite, yes, exactly. So let me pull one out of the hat,
That's what she said.
and the winner is Gavin from New Zealand. So that's going to be a bit heavy on the postage, isn't it?
We'll get it there.
How about that? Well done, Gav.
So there we go, Gavin from New Zealand. If you can email us when you listen to the show, if you're an audio listener, I don't know whether Gavin he's probably an audio listener, but Gavin, if you could send us an email with your address, we'll obviously ping you a little email as well, just to let you know that you've won that. So well done to you. We're going to have some more competitions running through the course of this year, all being well. Nev, I think we might have a few books to give away at some point hopefully, all being well. So more prizes to give away. Dirk S has put, Gavin is actually Carlos.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me.
No, it's not at all, honestly, Dirk.
I'm going to be checking when you're on holiday, I'm going to be scouring that cabinet of yours behind you to make sure it's not there.
It will be heading, trust me, it'll be heading to Gavin. Don't panic, over in New Zealand. Yeah, good. Well done to you.
Love that. That's really cool. I'm
Very
pleased
good.
about that, yeah.
Very good. Right, we're going to start to wrap things up for tonight's show, but for the benefit of for those who might not know whereabouts we are on social media, Nev, where can our lovely listeners find out more about us as a show?
We're everywhere on the socials, Facebook, X or Instagram, excuse me, search social media platforms for Plain Talking UK. You'll find us there. Email us at podcast@plaintalkinguk.com, and the website, of course, is at plaintalkinguk.com. WhatsApp number, if you would like to send us some of your aviation photos or comments, it's +44 7446 975 214. That's +44 7446 975 214. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, which a lot of people have already done, of course, and you'll get notifications when we go live, and you can help shape the conversation of the show by joining us in the chat room. Just go to youtube.com and search for Plain Talking UK. You can also help us to offset some of the running costs of the show if you feel you're able to do that as well by using Patreon or PayPal. Details of how to do that are all on the website as well. And just before we go, I thought we might give you a bit of an update on Andy and his walking.
Oh, yes.
Do you remember he was doing some of that?
Absolutely.
He was,
yeah, absolutely.
Well, he said on Saturday that today was the day for the 100-kilometre London to Brighton walk. Unfortunately, at around 42 kilometres, I injured myself, but managed to drag myself to the checkpoint at 58 kilometres, but that's as far as I got. However, they did give him a medal for finishing the 50-kilometre challenge.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I wouldn't mind driving that, but I wouldn't want to walk it.
Which, to be fair, 50 is still an insane achievement, isn't it?
Wow.
I mean, that is nuts, isn't it? I mean, bless him, I bet he was absolutely gutty because we know how competitive he is, and I have no doubt he was bloody furious, frankly. I mean,
he has sustained a bit of damage as well, apparently, but he's feeling better anyway. So, but yeah, well done, Andy. That's great. That's very good.
Well done. Hopefully we'll have Andy back with us next week on the show. But quick round robin to see what we're all up to next week. And Mr. Smith, any exciting things going on?
Yes, I'm doing something very cool tomorrow, in fact. I'm off to London.
Oh, nice.
Yes, I've got a day off work. I've taken what we call a personal day. 'Cause, as I say,
is that on a choo-choo train?
No. Driving to Upminster and then jumping on the underground and going round that way. And off to go and see Back to the Future, the musical. So very much looking forward to that. That's going to be really cool. Really looking forward to that. Going with my friend Tom. I think you've met Tom at my birthday. So really looking forward to that. And the best thing about these things is when when we go to see these things. So he's obviously I'm an expert in all things to do with all things. I mean,
Aviation,
it's a flying car. Let's be honest, but an expert in all things to do with like musicals and stuff like that. And he is a senior drama teacher, and also done his fair bit of work on the old Theatre Royal and stuff. So very excited because the journey home will be picking it to pieces, I have no doubt. But so that's my day tomorrow. It's going to be a long day, but I literally cannot wait.
Well, have fun in London. Yeah? I'm sure you will.
Yes,
Mr. Barnes, anything exciting going on in the world?
Well, we're just trying to get rid of finish off the ensuite bathroom. Bit of an issue with a supplier supplying the wrong shower door today. So I got terribly cross and had to have a gin and tonic to recover from the shock of all that. So we were going to go to Amsterdam next week, actually, for a couple of days, just to use up a few of the older Avios points and what have you. But we've just decided to postpone that because this work is going to continue into next week by the sounds of things, so we need to be here. So we've managed to get a full refund of the points and all the rest of it, so that's quite good.
Wow.
So we'll go probably later in the summer for a few days instead. But it's sort of domestic type things over the next 4 or 5 days, I would think.
Exciting times, Nev. I bet you're looking forward to getting in the ensuite.
Yes, I mean, it is usable apart from the shower, which is not really usable at the moment because it's got the wrong door. So, no, our Portuguese plumber has done a fantastic job of it, and it's really nice. He's such a decent fellow. He's a really really good quality workman as well. So it's great to be working with him again. He's done so much of the plumbing in the house as well previously, so he knows what he's doing. This is not an area of expertise that I have at all. I mean, if you want me to wire up a 3-pin plug, I can do that.
Yeah,
or an XLR plug.
Yes, XLR. I can solder you an XLR if you wish. But no, when it comes to what I call big electrics or big plumbing like that, that's not me at all.
I had to make a load of speak-on cables about 2 months ago. What a horrendous experience that was.
It is. Yeah.
They are
Couldn't agree
horrible.
more.
Dirk's comment in the chat room.
Yeah. Oh, is
classic. Portuguese plumber, Nev. So you have a tap.
See what we did there? See what you did there, Dirk? Very, very witty.
Dropping
very
the
quick.
aviation in
Have we,
there.
I see. I was worried we'd sort of slipped into casual racism there. I was a little...
No.
Okay, all right.
TAP, or TAP is the Portuguese national airline, Matt.
Oh, I see. Very good. Oh, very clever.
Yes.
Well done. Why am I not surprised, to be fair?
When I see Miguel in a couple of weeks' time, when he comes back to finish I'll put that joke to him. See how it goes.
See how he gets it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. He might stand a chance, but perhaps that's an airline he's used frequently.
I don't think that's... No, I think he's more of a Ryanair fella,
Fair
actually.
enough. He's clearly a very sensible and prudent... Well, he's a plumber, of course. They're always watching the pennies, aren't they?
Well, I shall be preparing ready for next week's departure this weekend. I've got a few bits to sort out this weekend, ready for the holiday. Looking forward to that immensely, getting back to the lovely island of Malta, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, you're going with the wife this time, that's nice.
Yes, I know. Not my dad this time.
Yeah, it's nice.
Dad's gutted. He wanted to come away again this year. I said, no, Dad, got to have Gemma with me this year.
Oh, right.
Have a holiday. But I'm half expecting my dad to turn up out there while we're there. Because he's done that before,
He could sort out his own accommodation and stuff, couldn't he? Yeah.
He doesn't need to. We've got spare rooms, so he could come and drop in if he wanted to.
Okay.
But
fair enough.
no, we're looking forward to that. So we've got a few things to sort out. One of the things I nearly forgot to sort out, and I completely forgot, was to sort out the all-important dart tag. Because obviously we're travelling to London.
Do you not have it on auto fill?
I did, and my account got closed because I never used it.
Oh, okay.
If you leave it dormant for so long, it goes into bye-bye mode.
Okay, so I had that, but you just have to sort of... All it does is ask you to check to make sure... Oh, well, yeah.
I'll have to try and remember the umpteen passwords.
Oh, no doubt. Absolutely, yes. I don't know if I told you that somebody had a free trip to London on me because it would appear... You know the black car?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, the C-Max. It's obviously been fixed and still running around, and it went to London just before Christmas. The only reason I know that is because I hadn't taken it off my account, and there was a ULEZ charge and also a dart tag charge.
Oh, that's handy.
So
like
both
that.
ways.
But
Somebody
yes,
had a free trip. Yeah.
looking forward to having a week away. Although I shall miss the boys, because Dave. For those of you might have noticed that Dave has been laying here all night during this show. He hasn't moved.
He's been very well behaved.
Has not moved an inch. So yeah, we're going to miss the boys when we go away.
If you could get him to be that well behaved while you're doing your radio show, that would be even better.
Well, rather than climbing on my head behind me.
Absolutely,
I know, it's terrible. That. Right, that is it for tonight's show. Big thanks to all the people who have tuned in tonight on YouTube. Thank you for joining us in the YouTube chat room tonight. Been lovely to have you all in there. Also, big thanks as well, not forgetting our audio downloaders who download the show as an audio podcast each week. Thank you to all of you as well for downloading and supporting the show each week as you do. So that's it for episode 553 of the show. We'll be back next week, my last show before I head off to the lovely island of Malta for a week, but I'll be back next Wednesday, and hopefully we'll have a full complement of team members here next week. Andy will hopefully be back with us. But from me, Carlos here in the home studio, from Matt in the Master Suite studio, from Nev in his glorious Buckinghamshire studio, have a great week and rest of the week and weekend, everyone. Take care, and we'll see you all next week. Say goodbye, Nev.
Take care. Hope you have a nice week. Bye for now.
There we are, in the can.
There we go.
Well
Another
done.
one.
Just the one little edit required, but other than that, all good. All good. Oh, hello. I just realised I haven't put the camera back, have I? There you go.
Might be able to eat my meal that Gemma brought in about an hour ago.
Right.
Which I haven't been able to eat because
yeah.
Dave is lying here cleaning himself.
Indeed. Indeed.
If I get the camera, move it down like that for those of you watching. And this has been for the whole show since we started just before 7:00. Dave has been laying here and not really doing an awful lot.
No, he's having a lovely time
cleaning himself.
Look at the shine. Look at that.
I know. He's a good boy. Unlike his brother, who disappears and upset his mummy. Yeah. The only thing is, when you wake up at 3 a.m. and Dave is on your feet, he's a very, very, very good warming device.
Okay, good. Sounds like I've got a fun week ahead.
Yeah, you have. You've got this to look forward to.
I know. Very exciting.
I did open a tin. We got some new tuna loins for these boys this week.
Oh, hello.
And it's like human. You could. I think you could seriously eat it. It looks that nice.
Right. Okay.
I think on the next show you should demonstrate that.
I think you should as well. Absolutely. Yeah. We'll have it as we'll have just before you go on holiday. We'll make sure you've got the I nearly said you wait, because you nearly got the SH1Ts. Make sure you've got that before you go on holiday. I think let's do that.
Yeah, that would be handy. Yeah, that's one thing I don't want before I go on holiday.
Well, quite indeed.
Although I did treat myself to a pair of those noise cancelling earbuds this week.
Oh, nice. You'll have to let me know how you get on with it.
How's that help diarrhea, though?
Yeah,
well,
absolutely.
not help diarrhea.
Depends on where you put them, Nev.
Yes.
You probably they're quite small. You probably could swallow them, but they are blooming good. I'm looking forward to using them on the plane.
That's where I was going with that. Absolutely.
Yeah. They've got a 98 point something% noise cancelling doof. And I had them in last night, just giving a little trial. The sound quality is absolutely phenomenal, and the noise cancelling part is awesome.
Excellent. I shall have to get a couple. You need to get a second pair for Gemma now, and then she won't be able to hear you. That'll be marvellous.
Yes.
Yeah. Ideally, get her a pair before holiday. That'll be nice.
Trouble is with Gemma, if it was 2 paper cups and some string,
yes,
that would be a good quality sound for her. She's got no interest in cars.
It's more the noise cancelling functionality, which I think she'd be particularly excitable about.
I remember when, although this is the visual thing rather than an audio thing, I may have said this before on the show years ago, but when the BBC first started doing HD transmissions in 1080p in the UK, it was a great job. They did a great job of it. And Sue comes and says, "Oh, Nev, it's a bit sharp, isn't it? Can't we have a standard def version of it?"
What?
I'm going,
no.
I've just bought this telly that's capable of high definition video.
I know.
But there we go. But I've heard a few people actually, because if you've not seen it before, I mean, obviously we're all used to it now, but then it was quite sharp and it was a bit too acute for some people's vision.
Yeah, I remember I remember seeing a 4K one in. It was in a shop, so it obviously got the amazing, like whatever it was, the Blu-ray disc or whatever it was that was playing the transmission, or might even have been a like a USB stick type sort of thing. And it was a fish tank thing, and it was utterly mesmerising. It was so detailed and all that kind of thing. It's we're a bit snobbish in this house, to be fair. Carlos, you'd be very proud of us. Because it's like I accidentally put BBC One on from standard definition rather than the HD. Yeah, the actual one. Mum was absolutely horrified. She was just like, she was literally going, was there something wrong with the TV? As it was all blocky and squared and all this kind of thing. So yeah,
Gemma does it all the time. I'll go in the kitchen sometimes. She'll be in there cooking, and she'll have the telly on. I'll be like, "You're watching that on standard definition."
Yeah,
and it's so noticeable. It's like watching Minecraft.
Yeah, this is the thing, because and I don't know if it's the same in your house, Nev, but we very, very rarely watch actual terrestrial television. No. Now, everything we watch is from a streaming service, and of course the advantage of there is you're properly spoilt in most cases with the quality that's hitting your screen. So when you do accidentally flick over to BBC One, it's just like, oh my goodness me, what's this?
Absolutely,
Dead
right.
I'm very disappointed that I had Mrs. Nev down as someone who would notice these finer points.
Yeah. Perhaps she's got used to it now.
Yeah, possibly.
But perhaps just back in the day when it was first being broadcast, it was a bit of a shock to her visual acuity.
Yes, indeed. I remember seeing Amanda Holden for the first time in HD. It was quite the shock.
Oh, Lord.
And
awful.
I no wonder she had all the work done.
Yeah. More on that later.
Quite absolutely. There we go.
Right, we better let these.
Any complaints, by the way? Complaints at apg.com. Obviously,
yes.
Where you need to, airline pilot guys, where you need to send any complaints. Where I'm sure the team over there would be delighted to receive your complaints.
Well, thanks everyone again for tuning in this evening. We still got 11 in the chat room there, which is always good.
Bold.
Good to see everyone as well, always this week. Have a great rest of the week, and Neb will let you say bonjour to everyone.
Yeah, thanks for everybody for joining us tonight. Bonsoir is what we should be saying.
Correct
really.
answer, yes. I'm glad you pulled him up on that. I was fuming.
you know, we're not a very multi-language country, as you know here. But
barely speak English, to be fair.
Quite, yes. But really appreciate everybody joining us this evening. Thanks ever so much indeed. And hope you have a good week and the weekend. We'll see you next week, same time. Bye for now.